Hello and welcome to the Vinyl Sanctuary. My name is Christian and I hope that you will join me in taking refuge in records. So I'm here today with my ranking video for the year 1985, and as per usual I will be showing 25 records here that were all released in 1985. There will be a top 5 ranking here to show you as well, and usual process. So I'll show you the front and back covers, and I will also mention a few favourite tracks from each album as well. But I had a little bit of feedback, which I thought was actually really useful and very well appreciated from me by a subscriber called Gunter, who mentioned that it may be a useful addition to my videos to start showing the inners of my records as well. So if my inner sleeves have got any, lyrics printed on them or any photographs or anything like that, that might be a nice complement to showing the front and back covers off as well. So I really took that that advice on board and thought, yeah, that's actually a really good idea. So if there are any records here today and moving forward for the rest of my 1980s series that have got inners with pictures on or anything of interest, rather than just being plain white or a plain colour in general, black or whatever it happens to be, then I will show that off on camera as well. So just wanted to say thank you very much to Gunter for watching the channel, for subscribing, for being a great supporter, and also for making that suggestion. I just want Gunter to know, and obviously people watching today, that I'm very much going to take that feedback on board. So we'll see how we go with that today. If you're new to the channel and you haven't watched my videos that cover 1980 through to 1984, I will pop those links in the description box for this video, so you can go back and watch at your leisure if you choose to. And yeah, if you enjoy what I do today and you want to leave any comments or send me any thoughts and feelings on what albums you would have for 1985, then please do let me know. So the only caveat I suppose I should mention, just in case people are new to the channel here, is I only show records that I actually happen to own in my own collection. So it may well be that there is a glaring omission for the year, an album that maybe did particularly well with critics or is universally adored, but if I don't have it in my collection, then I'm not able to show it. So it's not always the case with that. Sometimes there are albums which did get a lot of love and a lot of praise, and they just might not be my cup of tea. But there are other times where there might be some albums and people might be thinking, oh, come on, should have shown that. But I don't own everything, so it's just what I have in my collection. So that's kind of really the only principle or rule, if you will, that I do go by with these particular ranking videos. So without any further ado, let's get into it. We're going to do 1985, 25 records to show. Really looking forward to it. Okay, so thank you very much everyone for being here, and I hope that you enjoy what I'm about to show you. Okay, right, so we're starting off today with a band whose origins were in Coventry, the band members, but I'm pretty sure that they were actually based in Manchester. And that album here, to get us kicking off 1985, is The Colour Field with Virgins and Philistines. And here, as you can see in the middle, is Terry Hall, who obviously had a fantastic career up until this point with the Specials and also the Fun Boy 3, two groups which I have immense respect for and a lot of time for. But this album here that I'm holding, The Colour Field, Virgins and Philistines, I think it's a lovely album, really enjoyable from start to finish. It's got quite an acoustic feel to it, sort of what I would call sophisti-pop. So if there's people at the time, maybe if you're into the likes of Everything But the Girl, their early sort of jazzy kind of bossa nova style stuff, Aztec Camera, groups like that, sort of almost like kind of lounge music to an extent, but there is a little bit of an indie pop sensibility to The Colour Field as well. And obviously because you've got Terry Hall involved, the lyrics are, at turns romantic, quite cutting in places, humorous, they kind of run the full gamut of emotions. So this for me is a really fine album from 1985. It's strong all the way through. It sounds lovely, it's well produced. It was produced by Hugh Jones, and we've got here joining Terry Hall, we've got Toby Lyons and Carl Shale as well. So favourite tracks on here, I would say Thinking of You, which opens the album off, is definitely my favourite song by the Colourfield. It's a lovely, again, I'd say sophisti-pop, jangle pop tune. Lovely way to get the album up and running. I'm also a big fan of Castles in the Air. That's a great track as well on side one. And then side two, I do enjoy Hammond's song, which opens that side off. Virgins and Philistines, the title track of the album, is very enjoyable. And I do enjoy Yours Sincerely as well. So yeah, really nice album, this one, and I'm pleased to have it in the collection. I've always been a fan of that cover art as well. Just think it's really eye-catching. Almost looks like a plate glass window effect there with the colours, and yeah, Terry Hall's expression as well. It's just always made me smile. I mean, Terry Hall could look cool doing pretty much any kind of pose, really. So yeah, really enjoyable album, that one. And if you've not heard that one before and you're looking for something a bit smooth, a bit jazzy, mid-80s stuff, please do consider giving the Colourfield a try. Okay, so we're kind of staying here in the Manchester terrain area, because like I mentioned, they were based in Manchester, although Coventry origins. This group here that I'm about to show you, their roots are very much rooted in Manchester, no mistake about it. North Manchester, to be precise, and even more precise than that, an area of North Manchester called Middleton. And this group here are the Chameleons, with that excellent cover art there. And this album is called What Does Anything Mean, basically. So we've got quite a, almost like I would say, quite a psychedelic cover going on there. And that artwork has been done, as always, by one of the Chameleons guitarists, Reg Smithies, who did all of the artwork for the band, for their releases, singles, EPs, etc. Yeah, just a plain white inner on there as well. Nothing to show us yet, Gunter, but I'm sure there'll be something coming up soon. So there's the front cover there. Definitely worth holding there to the camera. And then there's the back as well. So yeah, I've talked about the Chameleons a few times on the channel already. Superb post-punk group. I would say that in the earlier days of the band, they were kind of more in line with, the early anthems of U2. But I feel that on this record, they went into a more experimental territory. There are synth washes on this record, which I think are beautiful. With the opening track, Silence, Sea and Sky, is just show-stoppingly good. I mean, it's only a brief intro to the album, but it's beautifully orchestrated. Gorgeous melodies on there, and then it leads into Perfume Garden, which is one of my favourite tracks on the album. But yeah, this is really good, strong indie alternative guitar music at its core. But there is a little bit more experimentation creeping in compared to the sort of the rougher, more post-punk leanings, I would say, of early records, early singles, Fan and the Bellows, that sort of stuff, and then Script to the Bridge, which was from 1983. This is like a progression, I would say, from that album that this one came there 2 years later. So other songs that I love on here, Intrigue in Tangier is fantastic. Return of the Roughnecks is one of the Chameleons' best songs. This is a reissue on here, on this album, so we do get In Shreds on here at the end as well. We've got Nostalgia on here, which is one of the Chameleons' best songs too. And then Let's Choose One from part two rather than side two. They've called it part two. I do really enjoy Looking Inwardly and Home Is Where the Heart Is. So yeah, a superb album, that one by the Chameleons. They are a group that turned in rock solid albums throughout their career. This one here, no exception. So you've got the brilliance there of Mark Burgess, John Lever, Dave Fielding and Reg Smithies. And they were the Chameleons. So just get that packed up. But yeah, that is a reissue, that one. So it has got that extra track on there within Shreds. And as I said, it's got Nostalgia on there as well. Okay. Right, so coming up next, we've got a group from California. They are a desert rock group, I would say, at their fundamental core. But they also had connections with the Paisley Underground, which is a movement that I've spoken about a couple of times on the channel already. You can hear about that on other 80s videos that I've done to date. So this group here have got, it's a really underrated band in my opinion. I think they're absolutely superb. And that is Thin White Rope. And this record here is called Exploring the Axis. So this is the debut album by Thin White Rope. I won't give too much away in terms of where they took their name from, but it is a cryptic reference to a certain bodily fluid, and it was created, this particular phrase, by William S. Burroughs in the book The Naked Lunch, or Naked Lunch. So it's a Burroughs reference, the band name. So yeah, we've got Guy Kaiser, sorry, rather than saying Kai, which can also be in a person's name. We've got Guy Kaiser on vocals and guitar, and Guy has got an extremely distinctive voice, and as people know by now who are fans of my channel, I am definitely drawn to singers with distinctive voices. So Guy is no exception. There's a real growl to it, a quavering tenderness there at times, but he can also really scream and rock out when needed as well. And he was joined on this album by Roger Kunkel, guitar and vocals, Stephen Tesluk, I believe that is, yeah, Tesluk, on bass, vocals and guitar, and then we've got Joseph Becker on the drums as well. So yeah, just making sure I'm pronouncing everybody's names correctly. So yeah, excellent album, this one. So yeah, desert rock. I suppose maybe if you're into the likes of, I'd say, the Meat Puppets, if you're not familiar with Thin White Rope, that might be a kind of a comparison to make. I don't know if they kind of sound as kind of fried as the Meat Puppets do, but they're definitely inhabiting like a psychedelic realm, I would say. You know, you can almost feel the kind of the heat rising off these grooves when the songs are playing, which I do think is akin to the feeling that I get when I'm listening to the Meat Puppets. Excuse me, especially the Meat Puppets' second album. So yeah, if you're into sort of, you know, your psychedelic rock and just guitar music in general, and you're looking for something a bit different from the mid-80s, then please do give Thin White Rope a try. So favourite tracks on here, Down in the Desert is a brilliant opener, and pretty much, you know, sets the standard really for what to expect from Thin White Rope in terms of their sound and their lyrical preoccupations at times, although they do get a bit deeper. You know, they don't just remain rooted in the desert. Disney Girl as well as another great track on side one. We've got Lithium on here, which is nothing to do obviously with the Nirvana song that came a good few years later after this one in the early 90s. This is Thin White Rope with a song called Lithium. And Dead Grammars on a Train is excellent as well. That closes side one. And then side two, I'll give a couple more favourite tracks. 11 is good, and then I would say the title track, Exploring the Axis, is a great way to close the album off. So if any of you are watching the channel and you are familiar with Thin White Rope and you want to share your thoughts with me about them, please do, because I think they're an excellent group, and I do think they're rather underrated, and they do go under the radar a little bit too much. So I wanted to shine a spotlight on them, and they were definitely an easy pick for my top 25 for 1985. Okay. Let's see if I can get my throat back working here. Okay, I don't want it packing in or anything. Okay, it's been pretty good these past few weeks, so I don't want it to be playing up now. Okay, so next band I'm going to show you here are from the UK. So we're going back to the UK. Another very consistent album, strong throughout. Got some great singles on here. I'd say that it's got quite a samey feel to it. I think, you know, the songs kind of remain within a bit of a groove and kind of stick to it. Doesn't deviate too much, but I just think the consistency of the songs here, the production sounds big, powerful. You know, just the bands sound great is definitely the reason why this album found its way into my top 25. And that record is Nighttime by Killing Joke. So this is an enjoyable Killing Joke album. I do still think that my favourite is the debut. Although the debut, just a little spoiler for 1980, didn't make it. But that is because into my top 25. But that is because it was just so heavily contested. 1980. It was a ridiculously strong year. I felt 1980, and I've got over 50 albums in that from 1980 in my collection. So whittling that down to 25 was really difficult. However, Nighttime in 1985, with the records that it had up against it, got in pretty quickly and pretty easily. So before I show you my favourite tracks and reveal them, there is one here that I can show for Gunter. It does have an inner with, you know, lyrics and things on it, something to show. So I want to make sure that I'm doing that moving forward, because as I mentioned, I do think it was a really great piece of feedback. So in terms of favourite tracks on here, wow, this is an excellent record. Brilliant. So Nighttime, which opens up the album, is superb. Love Like Blood is a classic Killing Joke track. Great song. Post-punk perfection, you know, just the melody of it. Jazz Coleman's vocal performance. The guitar work by Geordie. Got Paul Raven on the bass. Paul Ferguson on the drums. Everybody's just pulling in all the directions needed, creating a really powerful song in Love Like Blood, and a powerful album overall. Got Kings and Queens on here as well, which has got an excellent riff, but the big tune on here, the big famous tune, is 80s, which proved to be the inspiration, the opening riff by Geordie. A riff for the ages was the inspiration for Come As You Are by Nirvana. So 80s is I would say 80s and Love Like Blood are the two big famous songs on here. But if you've not heard the likes of Kings and Queens, Nighttime, Darkness Before Dawn, definitely an album worth checking out. Really strong post-punk with a dark edge to it, but you know, it is called Nighttime, but very enjoyable all the same. So Killing Joke. Okay, so now we're moving on to, here's a big clue for a big album. We're moving now into the big music. So that's probably enough to tell you there with that one, because people in the know will know what I'm talking about, the big music. We've got here the Waterboys with This Is the Sea. And look at that for a front cover. I mean, how cool does Mike Scott look there with that fantastic tussle of hair there, and yeah, very nonchalant sort of a pose there. And then you can just see, if I can show it there, you can just see there very sort of vaguely the Waterboy symbol as well. That's like kind of there when I sort of hold it like that. You can sort of see that zigzagging there across. That's the Waterboys symbol, which I can show you better. There we go. Still need to practice the finger tapping. I'll get it one day, you know, everybody. I'm getting there with it. I'm getting better, but still not quite there yet. I've got room for improvement. Okay, so let's look at the front and back cover. Yeah, that's just plain in there as well. So there's the back cover. So as I mentioned there, we've got the big music here being made. We've got Mike Scott here, vocals, guitar, piano. Got Anthony Thistlethwaite on saxophone, and then we've got the amazing, wonderful, the late great Carl Wallinger on bass and keyboards. Such a huge contributor to the Waterboys during his time with them. And we've got some truly magnificent songs on here. It's a brilliant album, front to back. Starts off with Don't Bang the Drum, which I've always loved that track, but it's got The Whole of the Moon on it, which, you know, really is one of the most majestic, glorious pieces of music I've ever heard in my entire life. I just can't even tell you how much I adore that song. It's definitely one of my favourite songs of all time, easily a top tenner, without any shadow of a doubt. I've just got amazing memories of listening to that as a kid. My brother had a picture disc of it, and it's just grown on to take so much importance and significance in my life. It's a huge song for me personally. So yeah, I'm just a huge fan of that song. I'm always in awe of it when I listen to it. The lyrics to it are just magical, and the music is just outstanding. So fair play to Mike Scott and Prue for pulling off that wonderful song to take, you know, pride of place on what is a magnificent album. We've got Spirit on here as well. And then side two, we've got the likes of Old England, Be My Enemy, and then it closes off with the title track, This Is the Sea. So yeah, it was very much Mike Scott's intention to create what he was calling the big music. It was a concept that he had, in that he wanted this very grandiose sound, you know, very sweeping, orchestral feel to it, but also again rooted, you know, in more typical rock instrumentation with, you know, your guitars, drums, bass, and keyboards. But then we've got Anthony Thistlethwaite fleshing things out beautifully with his saxophone contributions as well. So that is a stunning album from 1985, that one. So again, like I'll say with a lot of these records, if you're not familiar with the Waterboys and you're looking for something really big and deep, anthemic, music to lose yourself in, sounds fantastic through the speakers, then please do give This Is the Sea a go. Give it a spin. You won't be disappointed with that one. Okay, so we're moving now away from the big music and we're going to, I would say, more of a stripped back affair. This was a group, they were a trio formed in Bradford. I'm pretty sure they were still a trio at this point. They'd had a brilliant album out the year before in 1984 called Vengeance. And this group here, yeah, as I mentioned, well, maybe did, are from Bradford. We've got here New Model Army, and this record here is called No Rest for the Wicked. It's also as well just known quite often abbreviated as No Rest as well, which is one of the songs on this wonderful album. So yeah, I've talked about New Model Army before. You've got the incredible bass playing on here of Stuart Morrow, who is just a truly wonderful talent. He does things on the bass that just stupefy me. The way that he plays the thing, he's like a bass virtuoso in my opinion. He's doing runs on that bass and playing, getting sounds out of there and making noise and tunes that I just can't fathom. I'm not a bass player myself. I'm a guitar player, but boy, would I love to have the chance to play with somebody like him. But Justin Sullivan does some great work on here as well with the singing and guitar. And I do believe it is Rob Heaton as well that's playing drums on this. So he's got an incredible drumming style, very powerful. So yeah, this is really pumped up indie music. I would say that in places it reminds me a little bit of if the Smiths were on steroids was a way that I remember describing them to a friend of mine many years ago, which made him chuckle. And that song in particular that always made me think of like kind of a beefed up Smiths was the song Frightened, which opens the album up. But this is another album that every track on here is excellent. I love the sequencing of this record, the flow. We've got big lyrical themes on here, as you would expect with New Model Army. But all the favourites on here, I would have to say, Grandmother's Footsteps is excellent. I do love Frightened, as I've already mentioned. My Country is excellent as well. But then on side two, which is brilliant, you get No Rest, which I think if you're going to just check one New Model Army track out, it would be No Rest. If you just listen to the bass work on there, the way that it builds, singing like 4 o'clock in the morning, still we cannot sleep, turning over, turning round, twisting in our sweat. They say there is no rest for the wicked ones. Dear God, what have we done? So the lyrics of it are just really compelling. The way that Justin Sullivan delivers his lines, he's really selling the song in a really authentic, genuine way, coming from the heart. Young, Gifted and Skin is on here as well, which is excellent. And I've always been a big fan of Drag It Down, which is quite a catchy number, that one. So yeah, this is a superb indie alternative guitar album. New Model Army, No Rest for the Wicked. There we go. Okay, so now we're going over to the US again. We're going to Minneapolis to be exact, and we are getting very noisy here. We're getting very loud, very abrasive. Again, powerful stuff, great lyrics, but we're into some proper hardcore guitar music here. And we've got New Day Rising here by Hüsker Dü. Another superb album here by Hüsker Dü. And this is one of 2 albums that the band released in 1985. So they were incredibly productive during that year. Let me just see here if there's anything in the inner to show on this one. Oh, there is indeed. Yeah, so I can show you that. So as has been the case there before with Killing Joke, we've just got some lyrics here to show. So this is an old pressing of New Day Rising, this one. So one of my favourite power trios ever. We've got Bob Mould on guitar and vocals, Grant Hart on drums and vocals, and Greg Norton on the bass. It was produced by Hüsker Dü and a chap called Spot, who was the in-house producer on this label, which is SST. So this is like a hardcore punk rock label, home to the likes of Minutemen, Meat Puppets, etc. So an iconic label. But yeah, this is a great album. I mean, a lot of people might say quite fairly that this is even top 5 worthy. I couldn't argue with that. It's just that again, the competition here is extremely high for what I'm choosing. So I'll just show you that again there, just to mix it up a little bit. There you go. So favourite tracks on here. Well, it opens up with New Day Rising, which is almost like this kind of little mantra. It's just New Day Rising repeated over and over again with some serious guitar playing on there by Bob Mould. rather wonderfully, which I found out in more recent years, it's been covered by Robert Palmer, which if a person had told me that and I hadn't actually gone and seen the evidence on YouTube, I would have thought that somebody was pulling my leg. I mean, I absolutely love Robert Palmer, but I would never have thought that he would cover a song like New Day Rising or be covering a group like Hüsker Dü. But if you go on YouTube, it is there, it does exist, it's real, and it's actually a pretty damn good job of it as well in Robert Palmer's inimitable style. So we've got New Day Rising on here. We've got one of my favourite ever Grant Hart songs, which is A Girl Who Lives on Heaven Hill. Brilliant, brilliant song, that one. Celebrated Summer is just fantastic. Definitely one of my favourite ever Hüsker Dü songs. We've got Terms of Psychic Warfare on here. Books About UFOs is brilliant as well. Yeah, Plans I Make. Yes, gosh, there are some really excellent songs on here. I think one of the reasons why I probably don't have it higher is because it isn't the easiest to listen to in terms of its production. I do think that production on Hüsker Dü albums did more often than not, leave a little bit to be desired. It is a very tinny sounding album. It's very abrasive. This was definitely something that I was listening to more in my younger years. It's not to say, that the old ears now can't take a bit of noise. They certainly can. It's just that I being honest about it, I probably don't come back to this particular album by Hüsker Dü as often as I did many years ago. So I think it being in the top 25 is, down to nostalgia. It's down to the relationship I have with the album, and because it does have some truly excellent songs on there, they can't be denied. It's just that I think as I've gotten a bit older, I probably don't listen to it as much as I once did, just because these days I do tend to gravitate towards things that are maybe a little bit more soothing on the ear. But look, the power of the album can't be denied. It has to be in here for the top 25. And, if you're looking for some full-on hardcore rock from the 1980s, then, you're not going to go wrong here with New Day Rising. So there we go. Okay. So we're moving a world away now from the hardcore of Hüsker Dü. We're getting here into some really, really beautiful British dream pop, indie, jangle pop, lovely guitar music, beautiful album, beautiful band, love them to bits. And we've got here Felt with Ignite the Seven Cannons. So I've actually done an album ranking video about Felt. So if you're interested in finding out a lot more about that band, please do consider going away and listening to that video, watching it. Please let me know if you do. You'll find out a little bit more about what I think about Ignite the Seven Cannons. But just very briefly, this is we think this would be so we had Crumbling, Splendor, Strange Idol. So I think this is the fourth, album from Felt. I think it would have been, yeah. Pretty sure it's the fourth album there. Just had to work that out very, very quickly there, at the top of my head. And it's the only album to feature both Martin Duffy and Maurice D. Banks. So two virtuosos that played in Felt at the same time. You had Martin Duffy playing the organ and keyboards and Maurice D. Banks on guitar. Produced by Robin Guthrie of the Cocktail Twins. It's got a very 4AD inspired sleeve, even though this album was released on Cherry Red. So we've got Lawrence here to thank for this wonderful album. So yeah, please do check out the Felt vid and you can find out a bit more about Felt. So yeah, I've also got Gary Ainge on here playing drums as well, who was a constant in Felt's lineup. So favourite songs on here, wow, I mean, I love this album so much. Got to mention Primitive Painters right off the bat. That is, without question, one of Felt's greatest ever songs, and features Elizabeth Fraser from the Cocktail Twins on backing vocals as well. We've got Textile Ranch on here, which is a beautiful instrumental. The Day the Rain Came Down is one of my favourites on here as well. Lovely, lovely song. That one always brings a smile to my face, that one. This is so difficult. And I'll mention maybe two more. Serpent Shade I've always enjoyed quite a lot as well. Caspian Sea is very, very good. So yeah, if you're looking for sort of melodic indie pop, dream pop, and you're not maybe aware of Felt, then this is probably not a bad place to start with their discography. There's 10 albums, of felts to go off and explore. But this is a really good place to start and a very easy entry for my top 25 of 1985. So there you go. That is felt with Ignite the Seven Cannons. And yeah, definitely a lovely one in the felt history, just because, as I mentioned, it is the only one where you had the combined talents of Duffy and D-Bank together, and they really were a magical musical pairing for the time, the very brief time that they had together. So yeah, I'm just trying to remember, yeah, before I move off topic, I am pretty sure it's the fourth album, that one. If not, I'll have to do one of my pinned posts just to correct myself. But yeah, I'm pretty sure with that one that I've got that correct. Okay, yeah, fourth one. Right. So we are now moving over to America. We're back to the US again, and more specifically, we are heading into California. We've got an album here that I'm pretty sure, kind of drawing it from a memory, the back of my mind, which is what I always tend to do. I believe that R.E.M were a big fan of this particular band, and we've got here Telephone Free Landslide Victory. It's a little bit of a mouthful, that one, by Camper Van Beethoven. So my copy here was released on Rough Trade. There we go. There we go, Rough Trade. I'll get it one day, everyone. Got to bear with me. Okay, so let's take it out of the packaging. You can see it a little bit better there. Camper Van Beethoven. So yeah, Californian group. And let's have a look. Anything to show? Oh, I can show these off. Oh, here we go. Some sheets there. Oh, I've got two. Look at that. There you go. Got two there. Interesting. Didn't notice that before because it was kind of stuck to the back of it. So there you go. I don't think that's intentional. I think I've somehow managed with my copy to have two of those little inserts put into it. So there you go. So I've got a spare one. Okay. So yeah, I might as well leave that out actually while I'm talking. So yeah, Camper Van Beethoven. So really interesting group. Take their influences from far and wide, if you're not aware of them. So they've dabbled in ska and country and folk and punk and pop and a little bit of a sort of an alternative edge to them as well. Well, a very alternative edge to them. When you put all that into the blender, you definitely get a sound which comes out that does sound very alternative. I'm sure that it would be fair to say, looking at this album, that the most famous track on here, thanks to the popularity of a certain Michael Moore, would be the song "Take the Skinheads Bowling." That is on here. But I also wish to mention, because I always love to get them into my videos, my favourite band of all time, the Manic Street Preachers. They did a cover of "Take the Skinheads Bowling" as a B-side, and many years ago, and that was the first time that I ever heard the song, and I immediately wanted to go away and find out who had recorded it originally because I loved the song so much. And the Manics version is pretty faithful to the original. And yeah, I went away and found out that it was Camper Van Beethoven, listened to it, loved it, and then the first opportunity that I got to get the album, I took my chance and bought it. So yeah, I've had this copy for many years now. So I've got the Manics to thank me for getting me into Camper Van Beethoven. So yeah, it's a really fun album, this one. I'm just smiling looking at it because I've not played it in a good bit, but the songs are really there, etched in my brain. So yeah, other than "Take the Skinheads Bowling," which is a brilliant song, "The Day That Lassie Went to the Moon" is superb on side A. Oh yeah, "Where the Hell Is Bill," very memorable. Where the hell is Bill? Very catchy, that one. Yeah, just sticks in your head the way it's done for me all those years. So yeah, if you've never heard this album, it's definitely one to go away and give a listen to. "Balalaika Gap" is excellent as well. Always enjoyed that one. "Club Med Sucks." Yeah, wow, yeah, ambiguity song at the end. So yeah, "Border Scar" to open up proceedings. So yeah, there's a really lovely mix of instrumentation on this. Let's see if any of them are listed here. Yeah, so we've got we've got some violin on here, which definitely is prominent on "Take the Skinheads Bowling." We've got mandolin on here as well, and then it's just your typical vocals, guitar, drums, bass. But they make a really good sound. This group. It's really interesting. It's never dull for a moment either. This album, and it's got a really good runtime to it as well. It doesn't sort of overstay its welcome. It's just the right length for me in terms of it does its it does the business, and then it kind of leaves its mark, and then it moves on. So I'm always admiring of albums that do that. So, and there you go, found out I've got two of those. So I may not have discovered that had it not been for Gunter, so thank you for that. I don't know when I would have next picked this up to play it. So yeah, I just found out now that I've got a spare. So let's just get these in sheets put away, and then I will move on to the next record. So yeah, Camper Van Beethoven, and then the album there is Telephone Freelance Slide Victory. Is this going to go in for me? Let's see if we can get it in. There we go. And just put it into the plastic sleeve, and then we're all done. Ready to move on to the next one. So yeah, please do let me know if anyone watching here is familiar with that album or is a fan of it, because I do think it's a superb release for 85. Okay, so we've got it's a little bit of a coincidence actually. So that copy there of my album by Camper Van Beethoven was on Rough Trade. This record here is also on Rough Trade. This is a British group. We're back in Manchester again. Big giveaway, 1985. It's got to be here. We've got the Smiths with Meat Is Murder. Had to have this in here. For a lot of people, well, is it, I was going to say, for a lot of people, is it the favourite Smiths album? Maybe, maybe not. It isn't my favourite Smiths album, just full disclosure, it isn't. But it's a very good album, and it's certainly worthy of being here for 1985. There you go, it's got all the lyrics there. Excuse me. Voice cracked a bit there. Meat Is Murder. Front cover and the back cover. Okay, so we've got the wonder here on display of Morrissey, Marr, Rourke and Joyce. So don't need to talk too much about the Smiths. I mean, they've been spoken about an awful lot. Favourite songs on here. I do love the Headmaster Ritual to open things up. One of my favourite bits of guitar playing by Johnny Marr throughout the Smiths catalogue. It's actually a really good side A, to be fair. Rush on Ruffians is brilliant with that kind of rockabilly feel to it. Great bass work throughout this album as well. I will say that actually, I do think that bass-wise, this is one of Andy Rourke's best Smiths albums, if not the best. Some truly superb bass work on here, especially on Barbarism Begins at Home. But other songs on here, That Joke Isn't Funny Anymore, I think is beautiful. Closes the first side off, but I'd also say that, yeah, I think probably my favourite song on here is Well I Wonder, which is a really beautiful song. Bit of a deep cut, that one. But yeah, just sounds superb. It's really well produced. It's really great sounding, that one as well. Yeah, engineered by Stephen Street, produced by the Smiths. And then we've obviously got the iconic title track on here as well, Meat Is Murder, which was a call to a generation to embrace vegetarianism. I think, it's fair to say there are so many people that I meet, so many people that I've read about over the years, people a bit older than me, who embrace vegetarianism for life after discovering the Smiths and discovering this album. So definitely, there was a manifesto here, there was an ideal here, an ideology here that Morrissey wanted to put out into the world with the whole vegetarianism aspect to it. But this is a really strong batch of songs as well, so a very easy pick for 1985 there. We've got Meat Is Murder. Okay, so now we're moving over to Leeds, and we've got here a group that do get associated an awful lot with goth, and in particular, I'd say, I think it's kind of widely regarded that Bauhaus were the kind of the godfathers, if you will, of goth, the founders of goth. But this group definitely got lumped in or thrown in with that tag as well. Don't think the lead singer and the principal songwriter was always particularly chuffed about it, but they did make their mark in that world. But they go well beyond that. They've got influences coming in from all over. Leonard Cohen being a big one, and that's a big clue because it's a Leonard Cohen song, title that gave this band its name, and that is, of course, I'm talking about the Sisters of Mercy. And we've got here First and Last and Always, which is a lovely, lovely album. I'll show you the gatefold here for it. And then we'll get into the favourite tracks. So there you go. It's a great photo there. Black and white picture there. Just shift it across. Such a moody photograph. Moody album. Yeah, and then we've got, here we go, the inside there. Great, great photograph of the band there. Got Andrew Eldritch there, the leader I was just telling you about, who I don't think always appreciated or ever really did appreciate that goth tag that got attached to them. I think he saw them as being much, much more than that. And there we've got the band, some really great portraits there in colour. So as you can see, Wayne Hussey on guitars, Craig Adams on the bass, Andrew Eldritch voices, Gary Marks guitars, and then we've got Dr. Avalanche, which was the famous drum machine there on the drums. Production by Dave Allen. So yeah, let's get into the actual tracks. So yeah, brilliant album. So when I first started learning to play the guitar when I was 17, so that was like 25 years ago, one of the things I really, really desperately wanted to try and learn when I started to get a bit of a handle on the instrument was the opening riff to Walk Away, which is a lovely, jangly piece of guitar greatness. Always loved that song, loved the riff on it. Andrew Eldritch sounds fantastic throughout the album. Marianne is a stunner. I mean, there isn't a bad song on it, really, to be honest. Black Planet is a great way to open the record. No Time to Cry is brilliant as well. Yeah, I mean, side A is I mean, both sides are super strong, but I do think side A in particular is excellent. Title track is brilliant. It's one of these albums that is just consistently strong all the way through, and that is something I have noticed with these picks for 1985. You know, the likes of New Model Army there, Camper Van Beethoven, Killing Joke. There's a few that I've shown already where the tracks are just so strong. You know, there's no kind of dip in quality control or anything like that. The tempo of the albums move along at a great pace. But yeah, this is just great stuff if you're into dark, edgy, you know, I suppose, yeah, you know, you would call it goth rock, but I mean, this would also appeal certainly to indie alternative fans, post-punk as well. Andrew Eldritch, if you've not heard his voice, has got an extremely deep, commanding baritone of a voice, like a really, you know, a powerful voice to him. You know, he's really commanding, beautiful poetic lyrics as well. But I just don't want to kind of close off this little commentary here without mentioning 9 While 9, which is one of my favourites on here as well, and that is being referenced not only because I'm a big fan of the song, but because a very dear friend of mine and a very dear supporter of this channel is a huge fan of that song. And yes, I do agree that it does have a divine bass line. So I mean, there's some great bass playing throughout on this album, but yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out there to 9 While 9 for someone who I know is a big fan of this album, may even be the favourite of the year. So yeah, this is a superb album, and if any other people out there have got it as their favourite for 85, please do tell me. I would completely understand why you would have it as your number one. It's an excellent album. I've owned it for a long time now, and I'm extremely pleased to have it in the collection. So that there is the Sisters of Mercy with First and Last and Always. And if anybody does give that album a try, you know, as a result of listening to this video, then please do let me know how you get on with it. Yeah, really good stuff, that, and a great place to start with that particular group. Okay. So yeah, wow, we can't get much different here with what I'm about to show you from the Sisters of Mercy. So we've gone here from a really sort of, you know, beautiful poetry with this one. I'm going to mention, actually, I do sometimes often hear parallels with the Sisters of Mercy with Felt as well, which, you know, as I've said a few times, are a band that I love. Certainly early Felt, and I would say Sisters have got some parallel there, some crossover. So if you are into your early Felt and you don't know about the Sisters, then, you know, do bear that in mind. Or likewise, if you don't know Felt and you're into Sisters of Mercy, then, you know, give Felt a try. Okay, so I need to get back to where I am now. So this group here is a world away from Felt, a world away from Sisters of Mercy, a world away from everyone, really, which is why I love them so much. Utterly unique band. They're a group from Wirral, an area called Birkenhead, and they are a group that yeah, they're a one of a kind. Their lyrical themes are pop culture references, daytime TV. You definitely have to be a certain age to know what a number of these who some of these people are. I think as well, for a lot of my subscribers, viewers who I know I've got over in the US, they may not have heard of a lot of these people because we're getting into the domain of snooker referees and cricketers and sitcom actresses and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, enough waffling from me, just because it's such a brilliant album. We've got here Half Man, Half Biscuit with Back in the DHSS, which is obviously a brilliant, brilliant pun on back in the USSR, the Beatles, and the DHSS. It stands for the Department of Health and Social Security. So that was the department that was responsible in the UK for you know getting your unemployment benefits, etc. That sort of thing. So DHSS was where people would be going, for signing on, etc. So yeah, this is an album that came out on a Probe Records. There we go, up at the top there, based in Merseyside there. So yeah, what a band Half Man Half Biscuit are. I mean, Nigel Blackwell, who's the lyricist and singer, he is without a doubt one of my all time favourite lyricists ever. I mean, he is just outstandingly good. I put him up there with the likes of Andy Partridge, Ray Davis, Morrissey. I'm thinking of like the truly great sort of British lyricists. I mean, Blackwell is Marky Smith, who Nigel Blackwell was a huge Fall fan. Yeah, he is outstandingly good, but just has a really unique worldview. So what's interesting on here, which is pretty good actually, is that on some of the references to these people that are on the album, they give their own little sort of commentary or explanation. I mean, some of them are just ridiculous. We've got Len Ganley here, described as the godfather of punk. And for anybody who doesn't know who Len Ganley is, he was a snooker referee. So he kind of came to prominence just basically for being a referee on the snooker that Nigel Blackwell and the band would have been watching on daytime TV or Grandstand or whatever he would have seen them on BBC Sport, whatever the snooker was getting shown on. And Len Ganley has been immortalised in a Half Man Half Biscuit song because he was quite a distinctive looking fellow with a bit of a sort of a teddy boy quiffed look to him, very very sort of stocky fella. But we've got a song on here as well called Venus in Flares, which is a pun on Venus in Furs by the Velvet Underground. Got a song on here called Fucking Hell, It's Fred Titmus. Fred Titmus being a cricketer. Seal Clubbing, God Gave Us Life, which opens the album off, is brilliant. It's got pretty disturbing lyrics in there at some point as well, which really, really does take you aback. The first time you hear it, you think, did I just hear that right? It really does catch you off guard, but again, just great composition. Yeah, the Len Ganley Stance is the name of the song that is in tribute to Len Ganley. We get a song on here called I Hate Nerys Hughes from The Heart. Nerys Hughes was a Welsh actress who was in a programme called The Liverbirds over here in the UK. So yeah, what you get here is, finally as well, I Love You Because You Look Like Jim Reeves. So as you can probably tell here from my very sort of scattergun commentary on Half Man Half Biscuit, which is probably quite appropriate for a band like this. I don't think it would have done them justice if I'd have just, kind of spoke in linear sentences. I think you've just got a series of blips there from me. They are a band that just need to be heard. It's pretty difficult for me to put into words just what sort of a band they are. They're certainly indie and they're certainly alternative, and they do have guitar, bass, vocals, and drums. They do have some keyboards on there as well. So I think the best thing I can do with this commentary for this album, I mean, given I've got it in my top 25, which just tells you how much I'm a fan of it, is just to go away and listen to it. And if you do listen to it and you don't know who Half Man Half Biscuit are, then please do let me know how you get on with it. I'd be interested to find out if you actually like it or not, if you're not familiar. But what you do find with a band like Half Man Half Biscuit, and I'm no exception, is that they have super devoted fans. I think you either get it or you don't. I think they're a group like that. I think if you're kind of in with it and you get the jokes and you appreciate, you're on board with what the band are about and the sort of the absurdity of what they're doing. But there's a lot of, there's some real intelligence in there as well. I mean, Nigel Blackwell strikes me as an extremely intelligent person, very clever, brilliant lyricism, as I say. I put him up there with the best of all time. I think if you can kind of get on board with all that, then you'll find a lot to enjoy with this band, and this is their debut album. So, yeah, do give that one a listen, everyone, if you're not familiar with who Half Man Half Biscuit are. If you do, you'll make me very, very happy anyway. So there we go. Right, I'll move on from that because I've got quite a lot of albums still to get through, and I'm always conscious of time with my albums. So yeah, I've probably spent way too long on them, but there you go. It's an album that makes me happy, so I wanted to do my bit there for HMHB. Right then, okay, let's get back in the game. Right, so got an album here. Again, well, everything's a world away from them, from Half Man Half Biscuit. Very smooth, beautiful pop music, I would say, and I would use the word beautiful. Immaculately produced. I think it was like a record that was using really cutting edge technology for 85. I think, excuse me, like, the synclavier and that, sort of certain instruments like that. I think there might be the Fairlight involved in there as well, I think. But yeah, let's get to showing the album off, because it is a beauty, this one. And we've got here Cupid and Psyche 85 by Scritti Politti. This was another album that was just an immediate shoe-in for my 25. It's an album that's absolutely brilliant. It's probably, to be fair, unfortunate to not really be higher up in the rankings, but again, just because of the competition involved. There we go. So there's the band there. So that's Green Gartside there in the middle, who is Scritti Politti. He's the founder. He's the leader of the band, Green Gartside. Yeah, I'm sure as well one of those gentlemen on there is Fred Marr as well, who he was the drummer in Lou Reed's band as well. Yeah, it is. It's Fred Marr, and then we got David Gampson here as well. So that was the Scritti lineup at this point. And yeah, the transformation of Scritti Politti, for anyone who's not aware of them, they started out as like a communist group, really. Green Gartside was, he's another extremely intelligent person, brilliant lyrics. He's another one of the very best, I would say, actually. Green as well, wonderful lyricist, originally from Wales. And they started out, Scritti Politti, almost like this sort of very post-punky dub sort of reggae influence group, releasing songs like Skank Block Bologna and Bibliothèque and stuff like that, and then kind of went through this transition to sort of sweeter soul pop, and they had an album called Songs to Remember in 1982 with a beautiful song on there called The Sweetest Girl. And then we get to 1985 here, and Green has just gone full pure pop. There's stuff on here that reminds me a lot of Prince, who is my favourite artist of all time. He's singing in this very honeyed helium style voice, which I don't believe in any way was, kind of artificially corrected or anything. It wasn't like Prince, doing his Camille stuff. That was just Green's voice. It's a very airy voice, very light, but it works perfectly well. And it's beautiful to listen to. So again, this is another album. Every single song is superb. We've got the word girl on here, which is literally a kind of a deconstruction of the word girl. So it is, in how the word girl is used in songcraft as a lyrical device, which is a brilliant analysis of the word girl. And that has got a real kind of reggae sort of dub feel to it. Other songs on here, it's got Would Be's on here, Pray Like Aretha Franklin, which was a massive hit, huge hit actually. But I think Would Be's, the way it's spelt there, I actually think it's a pun, that, and I do actually think it's supposed to be Would Be easy, so that it's I think it's supposed to be sort of interpreted or read as would be easy. Would be easy should be how it's said, but I think it was. I mean, he sings would be's in the in the song itself, but that's very typical of Green, you know, in terms of using puns and lyrical wordplay to say one thing but mean something else. But yeah, Pray Like Aretha Franklin was a great hit, great guitar part in that. A couple of other favourites, Perfect Way is on here as well, which I do believe was a huge hit in the US, Perfect Way. But my favourite song on here, just because it has got a real Prince vibe to it, is Absolute. Wonderful song. I love Absolute. Great song, that one, and definitely my favourite on this album. So if you're looking for really polished 80s pop, commercial, sounds brilliant, something you can dance to, something you can chill out to, but with a lyrical depth to it that will really challenge, you know, people who are maybe looking for some kind of depth to their lyrical, I suppose, devices, or, you know, if they're looking for a person that can write songs that really gets the old grey matter flowing and ticking over as well, along to tapping your foot to the music, then that is a brilliant combination. That's Scritti Politti, Cupid and Psyche 85. Fine album, that. Okay, so moving on. Doing okay for time, I think. Yeah, we're okay, I think. Not bad by my standards, I don't think, but, you know, we'll see where we are at the end, won't we? And again, as usual, it's usually around this point in a video where I thank you for still being here if you are. Really appreciate it. So yeah, the album I'm going to show you here now, again, a lot of people could argue that this could even be a number one, a top five for 1985. You know, I've got it where I've got it for the time being. I've always been a huge fan of it. I've mentioned this band on the channel before, got into them as a kid, was obsessed with the band when I was younger. But we've got here, there you go, Songs from the Big Chair by Tears for Fears. And what an album this is. I mean, it is an 80s classic. I mean, that, I think that has to be said right off the bat. It really is a classic album of the decade. This was the album that really broke Tears for Fears into the big leagues. You know, this was the sort, you know, the album that saw them becoming a worldwide phenomenon, really. And that's because it's got some truly incredible singles on it. Smash hits. Opens up with Shout, one of the best songs that they ever did. You know, immediately catchy, you know, with the whole shout, let it all out. These are things I could do without. Great earworm, you know, great production on it, which is courtesy of Chris Hughes, who I've mentioned before on the channel was formerly of Adam and the Ants. He was the drummer Merrick, and he'd worked with Tears for Fears on the Hurting, you know, previous album from 1983, and he's here again, and he's helping Roland Orzabal and Kurt Smith to achieve this huge, big anthemic sound. You know, this for me is a sound that was designed to conquer the world, and it certainly did that. We even get some guitar heroics here from Roland on this album. Really proved himself to be some player. Of course, I have to talk about Everybody Wants to Rule the World. It is my favourite Tears for Fears song. I mean, there's really nothing more I need to say about Everybody Wants to Rule the World. You know, it is up there in the 80s with, you know, the real big hits of the decade. Just a monster of a song, timeless, brilliant pop, brilliant music. Got Mother's Talk on here as well, which is excellent. I love I Believe because it mixes the tone of the album up a good bit. That's almost like a really kind of a loungy, sort of smooth, soulful, jazzy vibe to it, which Roland sings, I Believe. Beautiful song, I've always enjoyed it. And then we get as well the utterly brilliant Head Over Heels, another great song. I mean, every song on here is really good. I mean, I enjoy the Working Hour as well, but I'm just trying to pick out a few of my favourites. And Listen's a really great closer as well. Again, it mixes up the sound a little bit, brings in a little bit of experimentation there towards the end. So yeah, it is just an outstanding achievement, this album, and, you know, it deserved all of its plaudits. It deserved its success, and, you know, huge credit both to Roland and Kurt and everybody involved in the album for making it what it was. And it is an album that I will always continue to be extremely fond of. So there we go, Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair from 1985. Okay, so we're back in Manchester again. So we've had a few Manchester entries, haven't we, in this year? So got here Bernard Sumner, Julian Gilbert, Stephen Morris, and Peter Hook. 1985's effort, we've got Low Life by New Order. There's Stephen Morris on the front there, and that's how I choose to have my cover, because you can choose with this album who you want to have on the cover. So I've got Stephen there. He typically is the one when the album's ever photographed. You almost always see Stephen. There's Gilliam. So let's try and pull it out and keep it all together. It's a little bit fragile, this one. It's an original copy. Excuse me, very, very pleased to say. Is this one going to play ball? Not sure with this one, because it's very, very flimsy. I may need to keep that one. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah, I'm going to keep that one in. Not going to start playing around too much with trying to get that out on camera. Hope that you don't mind with that in terms of trying to slip the the cover off. But what I can do, that's not a problem, is I can certainly take out the inner, because what I can do there is I can show you what the other covers are or could be. So you've got Bernard there, and you've got Peter Hook there as well. So I just wanted to try and take the New Order bit off so you could see it maybe housed on another way. But yeah, I'm keeping it there like that. You've got to be safe, haven't you, with these things? So let's go through some of these wonderful tracks, shall we? So favourites here. Wow, love the whole album, I always have done, but I'm going to say right off the bat, The Perfect Kiss. Beautiful song. Yeah, Subculture. Sooner Than You Think. Wow, yeah, love Vigilantes, yeah. What a song that is, yeah. To open the album up, one of my favourite New Order songs, that. Oh, wow. This Time of Night as well, Sunrise, yeah. Sooner Than You Think. Face Up, yeah. Alligator as well, yeah. Oh, wow. Sorry, losing myself in just looking at that album there and just, recounting how brilliant it is, yeah. It's an album that I used to listen to a lot late at night. One that I would usually go to when I'd had a night out, stuff like this, and then Violent Femmes, which is very different to this album, I admit, New Order, but I almost had like a little bit of a selection of certain albums that I would like kind of crash out to back in the day, when I've been out, clubbing and going to indie discos and stuff, and Low Life by New Order was one that I would listen to in that kind of hazy, happy state, and yeah, great memories of listening to this record. So another super easy pick for 1985. It kind of seesaws a little bit with me with Low Life and Power, Corruption and Lies, as to what my favourite New Order album is. I mean, there's a couple of others in the mix as well there. There's so many New Order albums that I love, but I mean, Power, Corruption and Lies and Low Life are definitely up there for me amongst my very favourites. So yeah, Low Life. Okay, so yeah, let's continue to crack on. Right, so the next album I'm showing you here is the second album by the hardcore Minneapolis band that I showed you a good while ago. So I've already talked about Hüsker Dü. So we've got here Flip Your Wig. So this was the other album that came out alongside New Day Rising in 1985. This, for me personally, is, I do prefer this to New Day Rising. As brilliant as New Day Rising is, I just think that Flip Your Wig is outstanding. I also think as well that it is one of Hüsker Dü's better sounding records. It doesn't sound quite as harsh, nasty, abrasive, tinny as some of their other albums. Their production did improve as their albums progressed through time. So there you go, there's the inner there of Flip Your Wig. So you've just got all your lyrics and stuff. And then we've got this lovely front cover, which to me has always looked like, cake icing, I think. If you look at it carefully, it looks like a cake, that, the way it's been done with the icing there and stuff. And I think it was always Grant Hart that was responsible for the album artwork concepts for Hüsker Dü, and he certainly did design that wonderful logo as well that adorned all their albums. So yeah, favourite tracks. Well, Flip Your Wig, the song itself, is an amazing opener. It's like almost like a kind of a pumped up power pop track, that one. Love Flip Your Wig. I love the fact that both Grant and Bob sing on it as well. Makes No Sense at All is excellent. Hate Paper Doll. Divide and Conquer, Games, these are all excellent. Green Eyes, which is a Grant song, is excellent. Oh yeah, what an album. Find Me is one I've always enjoyed a lot. Private Plane, yeah, The Wit and the Wisdom. Superb record. So yeah, if you're not aware of Flip Your Wig and you're looking for an album by Hüsker that is not as hardcore, I'd say it's kind of more in a kind of a pop punky power pop vein. I'm going to kind of go out on a bit of a limb and say, if anybody's watching this who is maybe into Green Day and stuff like that, that sort of poppy punky stuff, and you maybe don't know who Hüsker Dü are, then I'd check Flip Your Wig out. But yeah, I mean, you don't only have to be into Green Day to appreciate this band. I was into Green Day massively when I was, in my early teens. But I'm just trying to think of reference points for people who may not be aware of Hüsker Dü and are looking to kind of get into them. But yeah, I mean, it goes well beyond the pop punk stuff as well. I mean, if you're just into premier alternative rock, just great guitar work on it, brilliant drums, great bass playing as always by Greg Norton, then please do check out Flip Your Wig. I mean, you can see I've got this album pretty high up here for 1985 because I do respect it and love it a great deal. So, I mean, I love all these albums that are in the 25. It's always the case whenever I'm doing these ranking vids, all these albums I love, otherwise they wouldn't be here. But I am trying for the purpose of the channel to do rankings and try and create some talking points and just try and make it a bit of fun for me and a bit of fun for you as well. So yeah, if you're into Flip Your Wig and you've got any other comments you want to add to that I've just shown you, then please do pop them in the comments. Okay, so the next album here I've got, at one point this would have been, actually at one point this would have been my number one for 1985. It just so happens that I would say over time there are other albums that have kind of come more into my thinking, albums that I've spent a bit more time with. It's kind of the way things go with albums at times. You can have these records which are long-standing favourites for many years, and then suddenly out of nowhere there are other albums that kind of creep up on it. A bit of a hare and the tortoise situation in some ways. But I mean, I'm always going to have nothing but the utmost love for this album. It's just that, being honest with you all, I would say that in recent times I think it's fallen down the pecking order quite a bit, just because of, as I've mentioned, there's other albums that I've been listening to more, or I just feel I've maybe forged a deeper connection with. But this is still a great album. I'm delighted to have it on vinyl. And we've got here Tom Waits with Rain Dogs. And it is a truly brilliant album. As I said, at one point definitely would have been, or was, my number one for the year. And it's Tom Waits. I mean, it's just so unique. I mean, the way that he performs and just everything about him. Great instrumentation, so kind of out there and different and experimental, but I don't find it, in any way jarring or anything. I find the whole aura of Tom Waits and this whole sort of persona that he's got to be really compelling. And I've mentioned on the channel before as well, I think he's a wonderful actor too. So, there is a real just plain black in there. It's just a great storyteller, brilliant lyrics, and somebody whose work I've always followed and been fascinated by. So let's look at some of my favourites on here. Yeah, Clap Hands, always enjoyed that one. Catchy as anything, that sort of nursery rhyme sensibility to it, so it is going to be catchy. Jockey Full of Bourbon is superb. Always love the guitar playing on that, kind of thing that you'd hear in a Quentin Tarantino film. And I'm pretty sure that Jockey Full of Bourbon has been used in the work of Jim Jarmusch, who Tom Waits has frequently collaborated with. I'm a huge Jim Jarmusch fan. Pretty sure Jockey Full of Bourbon might have popped up in perhaps, thinking was it in Down, might have been Down by Law or Mystery Train, perhaps one of those. But yeah, it's definitely been used by Jarmusch. That great song. What else do I love on here? Oh, Time. Wow, I love Time. What a song Time is. Great song that. Let me see what else. Union Square. Got Downtown Train on here as well, which went on to be covered by Rod Stewart. Downtown Train, I should say. Get my words out properly. Always enjoyed that one very much as well. Yeah, Bride of Rain Dog. Yeah. Anywhere I Lay My Head. It is a great album, and maybe one day it might go up to number one again for me. But you know, these things change. I listened to this so much, like almost obsessively at one point, you know, years ago, but then you do move on to other things. But yeah, I've got a big place in my heart for Rain Dogs, and that is one of the albums that comprises the Frank trilogy of Tom Waits albums, with the others being Swordfish Trombones and Frank's Wild Years, and that was the record that came out in the middle of them. There you go, that's Rain Dogs by Tom Waits. Great album. Yeah, anybody out there who's a Tom Waits fan, if you want to write to me and let me know what you think of him, how do you rate this album, please do let me know. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick count here of how many albums I've got left, because I'm pretty sure that we're getting to the top 5. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, so we've got 2 albums left until we get into the top 5. So yeah, 7 left to do. Okay, so I'm going to move pretty quickly on this next one. And the reason being is I've actually done a video on this album in isolation. I've done a review request video. So I will pop a link to that video in the description box. So you'll have all the other 80s videos I've done to date. And I'll pop a link in for this video as well. Because I think the easiest thing to do, or I would gently encourage you, if you're interested in this group, is to go away and please do watch that review. So it's like about half an hour long, 25 minutes, something like that, and goes into the album in some detail, but I will show it now. It's in the top 25 and it's high up. We've got the June Brides with There Are 8 Million Stories. Great album, love it to bits, mini album. Phil Wilson, great songwriter, got a great band with him here as well. So yeah, please do give that video a watch and you can learn some more about the June Brides. But favourite songs on here, as I always do. I love Sunday to Saturday. Brilliant song. I Fall. I mean, I enjoy all of these. You know, there's only 7 tracks on it, but I'll just pick 3 or 4. So I Fall, Sunday to Saturday. Every Conversation, classic. Great song, that one. Brilliant. And I do love the instrumental as well, actually, the opener. It sounds very much like Josie K. So, who were like a Scottish post-punk band. So yeah. There are 8 million stories. I'm not glossing over them at all here because, like I say, I've actually had, you know, I had the pleasure of like doing like a deep dive video just on this album as a request. So yeah, I just wanted to show it because it is here for 85 and I'm delighted to have it as high as it is because it is a superb album. So there you go. There are 8 million stories by the June Brides. Okay. So yeah, one more to show you and then we're in the top 5. So yeah, this one was kind of knocking on the door of the top 5, but it has been kept out just by 5 others. I couldn't really not have them in the top 5. After Tom Waits had kind of dropped out, you know, a bit lower down. The other 5 were kind of wrestling between them to get to number 1 because they're all so good. But this one here is just there at number 6 now, and we've got R.E.M. with Fables of the Reconstruction, or it's also known as Reconstruction of the Fables as well. So that's the Fables of the Reconstruction side there. That's the artwork there. I'll flip it, you can see it that way. So we've got the band members there. So we've got Michael Stipe. Yeah, Peter Buck down here. Mike Mills over here. And Bill Berry over here. And then we've got that other cover there like that, which is a bit trippy, isn't it? Looks great though. So yeah, what a great album. So what I will say about Fables, just show you that as well, because yeah, it has got the inner there to show you. So what I would say about Fables is that it is an album that over time has really continued to grow. It didn't have the immediate impact on me that the likes of Murmur and Reckoning did, which were albums that I just immediately loved by R.E.M. I would say that Green made a faster impact with me than Fables did. Certainly Automatic for the People, which was a lot later on. But what I would say about Fables is that over time, the power of it, of the album, the vibe of it, because I do think it's a bit of an outlier in R.E.M's catalogue. You know, it's got a real sort of Dust Bowl, Gothic, you know, Americana, sort of Southern rock vibe to it. I've just absolutely grown to love this album so much, and it's definitely now in my top 5 favourite R.E.M albums, I would say. I would have to put it in the top 5 now if I was doing an R.E.M ranking. I just think it's just continued to grow and grow and grow for me. And it's an album now by R.E.M that I do find myself coming back to an awful lot, certainly since I've acquired it on vinyl. So yeah, it's just got such a great sound to it. And I know at the time, I think it was like critically panned at the time. I don't think people were really getting it at all, you know, or had much good to say about it. But I do think over time it has been reappraised, produced by Joe Boyd, and I do think now it is starting to get the love and respect that it does deserve. So let's have a look here for us. Yeah, here we go. Trying to remind myself of the track listings. Yeah, right. Excuse me, a little bit of dust there. So, might as well show you how the record's out. There you go. It's easy just to read the track listings sometimes when you've got, you know, these layouts at times where it's all a bit cryptic and all a bit higgledy-piggledy, and rather than trying to, you know, say things in the moment where I might not fully get it correct, I'd rather just play it safe and look at the track listings properly. So, yeah, so Feeling Gravity's Pull, wonderful opener. I've always loved the instrumentation on that, especially the guitar work by Peter Buck. Although Peter Buck is one of my favourite guitar players ever. We've got Driver 8 on here, which is definitely in my top 10 favourite ever R.E.M songs. I love Driver 8, superb. Old Man Kenzie, I love a lot on side 1 as well. I'd put that amongst my favourites. And then side 2, we get this really great sort of funk type workout, like a bit of a funk jam from R.E.M. I remember the first time I heard it, I thought, wow, like what are they doing there? But I've actually become really fond of that track, and it's called Can't Get There From Here. Really enjoy it. I've got some beautiful ones on here though. Green Grow the Rushes is just stunning. Brilliant song that. And I also love the closer as well, Wendell G. Brilliant song. So yeah, Fables of the Reconstruction. So if you're looking for a sort of a darker R.E.M, something a little bit different, if you're not familiar with the album, or maybe you've heard it in the past and you've not been back to it for a while, it might be time for you to go back and reevaluate it, because for me, it's been the classic example of a grower. I wouldn't say that I vibed with it immediately. Like I said, first time I ever heard the album was years and years ago, had it on CD. You know, I had all of R.E.M's albums on CD once upon a time. And, you know, I just didn't connect with it back in the day as I've gotten older. And maybe it's because I'm getting older, I've just grown to appreciate its beauty a lot more. But yeah, it's a stunning R.E.M album, that, and that was my number 6 for 1985. Okay, so we're in the top 5 now. Here we go. And again, if you're with me still, thank you so much indeed. Really appreciate it. Hope that you're all enjoying the video. Right, quick breath, and then we'll get into the top 5, because these are just stunners for me. I mean, as brilliant as I think 85's been a really strong year, but these 5 here I just think are absolute creme de la creme. I think these are not only just my 5 favourite albums of 1985, but probably, yeah, amongst my favourite albums of the 1980s. So got some great stuff here. Right, okay, let's get on. So band here from East Kilbride in Scotland, the brothers Reid, William and Jim, Douglas Hart, Bobby Gillespie. We've got the Jesus and Mary Chain with Psycho Candy. So this is my number 5 for 1985. So this was a pioneering album, I would say, in terms of noise rock. Let's go. Oh, this has got a brilliant inlay, this one. Some fabulous photographs here of the band, looking very, very cool indeed. Love that one there, great photograph there. Jim Reid always looks so cool to me, very mean and moody looking, but he pulls it off so brilliantly. Got Bobby Gillespie there, who was drumming here before he went off to go and play in his other band that he had at the time, which was Primal Scream. They went on to do all right, didn't they? So there you go, got Douglas Hart down there, almost looking a bit like James Dean there. So yeah, a very photogenic band, you know, great image to them. You know, the leather trousers and the tussle there, and dressed all in black, very cool. You know, the shades and everything, sort of taking a bit of inspiration, I think, from the Velvet Underground in terms of their image. But yeah, musically, if you're not aware of the Jesus and Mary Chain, so this is a band who were harnessing the power of feedback, guitar noise and squall, and channeling it using it as an instrument, feedback, much in the way that My Bloody Valentine went on to do with their incredible albums as well. But the Mary Chain were doing it here. So you've got these beautiful pop melodies, very much in a classic vein, almost like Phil Spector type stuff, girl group stuff, Beach Boys influences on here, but basically shrouding it in like a wall of noise. And yeah, it's not the type of album that you want to be putting on if you want something chill on a Sunday afternoon. This is extremely loud, it's abrasive. I mean, if you thought New Day Rising was hardcore, which it is, Psycho Candy is hardcore as well, but just in a different way. So you've got some absolute classic songs on here, Just Like Honey, that opens the album up with its Be My Baby drum riff. Amazing song, it just sets the tone for the album, introduces you to the world of the Mary Chain in the most fabulous way possible. Great singing by Jim Reed as always, just a great track, superb. Taste the Floor is brilliant, The Living End is wonderful. These are all side one, In a Hole, and then Taste of Cindy is definitely one of my favourite ever Mary Chain songs. See, side one is an absolute blast. Then you've got Never Understand. It's amazing. Side two. Yeah, You Trip Me Up. Wow, that's a great one as well. My Little Underground. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I could go through all of those. If you've not heard Psycho Candy before, I would say it is essential. It's an essential listen for 1985. It's an essential listen for 1980s music in general. If you're into your alternative rock and you are thinking about getting into the Mary Chain, then I would just say just go for it, just do it. Give it a listen. You have to be prepared for the noise. You have to be prepared for that squall. If you're not used to it, but underneath all of it, you've just got the most beautiful sugar-coated melodies, great pop sensibilities. The Reeds always had that. They never hid it. They were always very upfront about their influences in that way, but they just wanted to do it in a way where they were combining, almost like the harsh world of experimental noise rock and combining it with the sugar sweet pop of a bygone age, and they did it incredibly well on Psycho Candy. That is an unbelievable album. That's my number 5, and it is only my number 5 because there's 4 other unbelievable albums ahead of it. Right, so number 4, we've got an absolute genius here. She is a genius in my opinion. One of Britain's greatest ever songwriters, greatest ever performers, singers, arrangers, producers, composers. Wonderful person in terms of her musical output. Incredible. We've got Kate Bush with Hounds of Love. This is easily my favourite Kate Bush album, and I've loved all of her work. Massively enjoyed Kate Bush's output, but Hounds of Love to me is a very special record. This is at number 4 for 1985. So let's just show you the inside here. Got some truly beautiful photographs here of Kate Bush. There we go. And this is just a spellbinding piece of work. It's difficult in many ways to, although I'm going to attempt it once I've got this back in here, to just sort of put into words how brilliant this album is. The flow of it is unlike any other album I've heard. The way that I can think of maybe one other album which will come up in a few years' time that I'll talk about, and if I remember to, I'll do a call back to Hounds of Love in terms of flow. But the way that the sequencing of these songs has been put together, the way that the mood is built, the way it's sustained, the themes of the record, Kate's voice on it, the music, the words, everything, it just all coalesces into the most glorious album. It really is. So this is so difficult to only pick a few because I will do it, but I think this is an album that you really need to listen to as a piece. It's one whole piece really. It's almost like if I'm picking favourites off it, it's like I'm taking a fragment of an album. It's almost like, if you were talking about your favourite book and you just choose a chapter, or if you're talking about your favourite film and you choose one scene, this is kind of how this feels here if I'm picking a couple of favourites. But I'm going to have to mention Running Up That Hill. It might be now becoming ubiquitous for people. It might be becoming overplayed, with the whole Stranger Things phenomenon. For me, that didn't bother me one jot. I was absolutely over the moon that not only did it give Kate Bush a massive injection in terms of exposure and success, it turned on a load of new fans to her music. I just think it was wonderful that that happened. I celebrated it, thought it was awesome. It's still a great song. I'll never be bored of it. It's a wonderful song. I love the whole theme of the lyrics about swapping the places between the experience between man to woman, woman to man. That's what she's singing about. I've always found that to be a fascinating topic, for someone to even have thought of something like that for a song. Very daring, I think, and she pulls it off exquisitely well. Hounds of Love, the song itself, is just absolute genius. Beautiful piece of music. Super catchy as well in terms of its melody. But that is, you can always expect that with Kate Bush. Cloud Busting, I mean, these are just, The Big Sky, Mother Stands for Comfort, yeah. And then we get Hounds of Love, then we get the Ninth Wave, which is like, the other side, got Dreams of Sheep, Under Ice, yeah. Jig of Life, wow, Jig of Life is just, that just needs to be heard. Hollow Earth, The Morning Fog, yeah, I mean, that side is just, it's like stuff to rival, the great prog music, I would say as well, to be honest, in terms of just how it's executed. I suppose it is kind of poppy prog, really, in some ways. I mean, that's kind of only really occurred to me now, but there are prog elements to this album, I would say. But although it doesn't sound proggy, but maybe in places, I suppose it does. But it's commercial, it's a great length. It's just brilliant. It really is. I'm running out of words, running up that hill and running out of words to talk about it. So, yeah. If anybody's not heard Hounds of Love, please go and check it out. Give Kate Bush your time and attention, because it's just a masterpiece. That it's a great album. I mean, it's only number 4 though as well, so fine margins here. I think these are all masterpieces for 1985. Otherwise, they wouldn't be above it, would they? But there you go. I've stated a great case, I feel, there for Kate Bush. So yeah, anyone goes and checks it out, let me know. Brilliant, brilliant album, Hounds of Love by Kate Bush. Right, okay, 3 left, everybody. So number 3, we're not quite back in Manchester, but we're not far away from Manchester. We're in Salford, and we have got the hit priest himself, got Mr. Marquis Smith and company. We have got this Nation's Saving Grace by The Fall. So this is my number 3 for 1985. It's just a plain sleeve, that one. My favourite Fall album, just without a shadow of a doubt. Adore this album, absolutely adore it, which is why it's as high as it is. I love every track on it. It's like got my favourite Fall lineup on here. So this is like still, this is like the era of Brick Smith, who was Mark's wife, songwriting partner. She's all over this album, just her melodic sensibility. The band are just in incredible form. Great songs, it's powerful, it's punchy, it's funny in places as well. I mean, it's Marquis Smith, he's just on fire lyrically here. Opens up with Mansion, it's like really sort of creepy little instrumental piece, then it goes into Bombast, which is just wonderful. What I will say on here is that the drums sound absolutely phenomenal, and I do think that's because they were looking for a bit of a Can influence on here. I mean, there is a song on here called I Am Damo Suzuki, who was the singer in Can for a time. So there's definitely like a bit of a krautrock sensibility in places to the record, but it is like, sort of post-punk, alternative, guitar rock, just in only the way the Fall can do it. Utterly unique band, not just because of the way that Marquis Smith performed and sang and his words, but just the way the music sounds as well. There's no other band that can sound like the Fall other than the Fall, really. So yeah, What You Need, I love. Spoiled Victorian Child is amazing. LA, My New House is brilliant. But my favourite song, because it always makes me laugh, and just because it's so bizarre and brilliant and wonderful, is Paintwork by The Fall. Mark, you're messing up the paintwork. I can't hear it or sing it without laughing. And I love the music. Do 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 do. So catchy. Yeah, Paintwork always makes me smile. I put it at number 3 just for paintwork being on it, really. But no, the whole album, joking aside, the whole album is brilliant. It's just powerful and pumped up, and I just love putting this on. This Nation's Saving Grace, fantastic album, fabulous, good enough to put Kate Bush into number 4 and the Mary Chain into number 5. So there you go. Let me know what you think of this one, Fall fans. Where does This Nation's Saving Grace rank for you within the Fall's humongous discography? Is it one that you particularly love? Let me know. It's definitely my favourite Fall album, but I mean, I love a lot of others, but yeah, great stuff. Right, 2 left to go. Right, so these 2 here for me are just unbelievable. I mean, they're certainly masterpieces. I mean, these are just like, these are within my favourite ever albums, I think, of anyone ever, these 2. Picking between them, between 1 and 2, was extremely tough. They kept toing and froing, one over the other. But then I have finally settled with it being purely about which one I've had more time with. Nostalgia comes into it as well a lot of the time. Your emotions, your heart, etc. It always comes into play. But this is like, I mean, to be honest, these are probably joint number 1, which means if we did that, then all the others would move up a notch, wouldn't they? But I don't like to do ties. I like to try and challenge myself to actually put them into a final ranking order. So without any further ado, my number 2, I think, it was known as Two Wheels Good in America due to, I think it was like a copyright or a licensing issue over the name of the album. But number 2, we have got Steve McQueen by Prefab Sprout. And wow, I mean, this album is, yeah. I mean, look at the front cover for a start. I mean, even that front cover is just, it's just exquisite. I just love that cover so much. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Which will explain why I chose it from a title card for this year as well. But yeah, Steve McQueen. So yeah, it was called Two Wheels Good in America, as I just mentioned. Didn't have the permission to use the name Steve McQueen over in the US. Right, so side 1 of this album is one of my favourite side 1s of any album ever. It's that good. It is that good. And that's not to say side 2. I mean, side 2 isn't as good, but I think the reason why it was into number 2 is because I do think that there are more tracks on the number 1, which I'll get to, that just kind of push it down, only because side 2, it never really had a chance of competing with the quality of side 1. Although it is still great, it's just that side 1 here is just ridiculously good. I mean, that's A, and that's like A star. Right, so we've got the wonderfully named Paddy McAloon, one of my favourite names in history. There you go, Mr. Prefab Sprout. Wendy Smith here. His brother Martin McAloon there, he played bass, and we've got Neil Conti here on the drums. Okay, so this got there it has. It has. There we go. And look at that, I remembered all the names for you just even before I took it out. That's how much I love the album. Paddy, Martin, Wendy, and Neil. There we go. All posing there with the bike. And there's a brilliant shot of Paddy there as well. Looking very contemplative there. Contemplative, yeah, that's the word. Got it out there. Did all right there, didn't I? Yeah. Side 1, I'm going to name them all. Farron Young opens up the album, this country styling. Bonnie is my favourite track on the entire album. Gorgeous song. Love Bonnie. Love Bonnie. Appetite, incredible. When Love Breaks Down, one of the most heart-wrenching songs I've ever heard. Goodbye Lucille, number 1. Incredible. Hallelujah. Yeah. Side 2, Moving the River, Horsing Around, Desire As, Blueberry Pies, and When the Angels is a lovely closer as well. So all I'm going to say, everybody, to you, if you've never heard Steve McQueen before, or Two Wheels Good, depending where you live, of all the albums that I've talked about today, along with maybe Half Man, Half Biscuit, just because of the sheer weirdness of it. But yeah, on a serious note though, I mean, Half Man, Half Biscuit is wonderful, but for a truly genius album here, one of the very, very best of the decade, please do listen to Steve McQueen. And if you do listen to it and you're discovering it through my channel, Please do let me know if you did, because I would be over the moon to find out how you get along with it. In terms of the music, I should probably talk about the music a little bit, shouldn't I? So again, it's kind of like going right back to, the very beginning with number 25 with the colour field. It is sophisticated pop, I would say. It is smooth. It's there's a bit of soulfulness to it. It hasn't got rough edges to it, but it is just consummate songwriting. I mean, this guy's a lyrical genius. Again, I'm going to stick Paddy up there lyrically. Been talking about Marky Smith here, Nigel Blackwell. There's been some amazing lyricists coming up here in '85. Paddy is a genius. Green Gartside, he's up there with all them lot as well. Paddy, wonderful, wonderful songwriter, genius he is. He's got a great voice. He sings very, very soft and smooth at times, but then when he wants to scream and shout and rock out a bit, like he does on by Lucille #1, he's more than capable of doing that as well. But yeah, this is just an absolutely, it's just the joy of an album. That Steve McQueen, Prefab Sprout, wonderful. Let me know if anyone checks out, and let me know if you would have had that as your #1. I'd have no arguments at all if you did, or let me know if you think I've overrated it. We can always agree to disagree about things, so let me know. Right then, so that brings me then to #1 for 1985. What a journey this one's been. Okay, so this is a band who I've got a lot of love for. I'm a massive bit of a nerd when it comes to this band. They've featured on the channel a good few times before. Love them to bits. This is probably my second favourite album by this band, but on a good day it'd be joint first, but I'd say second favourite by this particular band. All the way from Crawley in the UK, we've got The Cure with The Head on the Door, and this is my #1 for 1985. And the reason that I love this album as much as I do, it's not just because of the quality of the songs. I think it's the sheer consistency of the album. It's another one of those albums where the sequencing of it is so well done and the mood is sustained so effectively that really does lend itself to the overall appeal of the listening experience. When an album is sequenced in the best possible way, for me it's like it's the difference between good and great. It really is. And the songs here, the flow of them, like I was talking about Kate Bush before, it just elevates it. So it goes without saying it's my #1. I love every track on it. Every single one of them is brilliant. In Between Days as an opener, one of The Cure's greatest ever songs. We got that wonderful bass line going on, very New Order sounding. They were doing Low Life at this year. I mean, it's brilliant. And then, frenetic strumming, acoustic guitars come in, one of Robert Smith's most iconic songs. He mixes up the music here quite a fair bit. Kyoto Song and The Blood have got, musical themes coming in from other countries. So The Blood's got like this sort of, flamenco Spanish guitar type thing going on. Kyoto Song, sounds, it's got Eastern motifs flowing through it. 6 different ways. It's almost like this kind of nursery rhyme sort of feel to it. Kind of creepy in a way, but, not pushing it too far. We're not getting into like lullaby territory or anything like that. Push is just outstanding. I absolutely love Push. It's got this incredible build up to it. The guitars on it just soar. They make me smile. Magnificent guitar work on it. It's got this massive intro, and then it just goes into this great song, It just continues to go, 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 go. The baby screams as well. Kind of a similar sort of a vibe, I would say, to 6 Different Ways. Close to Me is absolutely wonderful. With that great sort of like a Motown almost type bass line to it. Again, one of Robert Smith's greatest ever compositions, Close to Me, with that very, very brilliant music video directed by, I think it was Tim Pope, where they're in the cupboard. I think it's like they're falling off the White Cliffs of Dover, I think, from memory with that. A Night Like This is superb as well. More great jangle guitar playing in that one. And then we've got Screw and Sinking to finish as well. So a great close to this great album. And yeah, I just think it's just because it's so strong. It's for me, it's The Cure's best sort of pop, like alternative pop album. When I get to my other Cure favourite, which will be, at some point, I'll talk about my reasons for that being my favourite, and that inhabits a different musical terrain to this one. But if you're looking for The Cure just being brilliant alternative guitar pop music, then please do go to The Head on the Door. You won't be disappointed. It's a truly fabulous album, that. And it is number one only by the finest of margins. It wasn't a runaway winner or anything. But for me personally, with how I'm feeling and where I am in my life right now, and drawing upon all these years of listening experience with all these albums, it did come out on top. So, I think The Cure, Prefab Sprout, The Fall, Kate Bush, and The Mary Chain are, for me, a good, a very good top five. But, let me know what you think. Okay, so we're done. 1985 is over and done with. Again, as always, I thoroughly enjoyed doing that. I love doing these 80s rankings. I've had so much fun doing them. It's been lovely going through my vinyl collection and picking through them and whittling down my choices to 25, and being in a position to show them to you all. So thank you very much indeed for being here. I appreciate it so much. I've noticed lately, that I've been getting quite a lot of new visitors to the channel and viewers and people commenting and stuff. So I just want you all to know that I really appreciate all of you and everybody who's taken the time to leave me a comment. It means so much. And Gunter, I hope that you did enjoy me showing off some of those inners tonight as well, today I should say, depending what time you're watching. I did enjoy doing that, and I will continue to do that for other albums if there's anything there to show. I just want to say, if you're new here to the channel and you enjoyed what I've done today, and even if you are a regular viewer, if you would please consider putting a like on the video here today. I would really appreciate it if you did. It helps me to grow the channel, and it would just mean a lot to me in terms of just letting me know that what I'm putting out here into YouTube is something that's enjoyable. Also, if you've not subscribed to the channel and you're maybe thinking of doing so, please do consider giving me a sub. I'd really appreciate that as well. Thank you very much. If you do choose to do that, then you can just click the notification bell, and then that will keep you up to date with all of my content landing, just to make sure that you don't miss anything. And yeah, again, I always encourage people to leave comments. So, please do let me know what you thought of 1985. Share your memories of the year with me if you were around at that time, what your favourite albums were, if there's any that you would have included that I haven't. Any comments at all, please do let me know, and I will endeavour to get back to you as quickly as I can. So all that's left for me to say now again is thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your time and attention. And until next time, bye for now.